welcome to the Marine Conservation Happy Hour. This is Dr. Scarlett Smash. I have Dr. Kraken here, and we're going to talk about seabirds and drones. That is right. We're going to talk about seabirds and drones. Do I sound like I'm
$10, $10, $20,
Yeah, some auction.
$20.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to have seabirds. Yeah. So anyways, Dr. Kraken, this article came out. It was actually in the Washington Post. It came out about 4 days ago, which was, because this is going to be aired later, June 7th. It really upset me. Just the headline itself really upset me. I mean, thousands of eggs abandoned after a drone scares off nesting birds. Immediately, I'm so upset. But before we do all that and get into this, right? Dr. Kraken, what are you drinking? I know you're on your 4th glass, aren't you?
I'm just finishing off the entire bottle here. So this is the end of the bottle
Yes.
of my Drunken Whale sake, which
You have been really into sake lately.
I know. I don't know what it was. You know, I used to live in East Asia, and I kind of got into sake there.
But you really didn't. I thought you told me the whole story that you weren't really into it until
Well, actually, yeah, when I was
went
actually
to
out
a
there, yeah, I was
restaurant
drinking.
recently.
Yeah, actually, when I was out there, I was doing like a PhD, and I was into what I drank there was like really bad Australian beer, really. You know, Castlemaine 4X and Foster's and stuff like that. But you know, traveling back to Asia to do various meetings and conferences and stuff, then I just sort of tried some sake once and went, oh, this is actually quite good. I guess it's like, you know, blue cheese and olives and things like
Oh, I
that.
know. Once you get into stinky cheese, then it's like all the way, man.
Yeah,
You
it's
just
like when
start doing it all the time.
yeah, it's like when you're younger, it's like, oh, this is horrible.
Gross, Brussels sprouts, yuck. But now
Yeah,
you're
it's
like,
like, but
yum.
But then you get older and it's like, ooh, real ale is quite nice. Sake is nice. Olives are delicious. Blue cheese. Mmm.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I love the funky stuff. Yeah. You know, one of my favorite sakes was green tea sake. You remember that?
Oh,
Do
I
you
just had
remember
some
we
green
had it
tea sake.
together? We had it
Yes.
together.
Yes,
And it was
yes.
actually at Epcot when we were going around the world. By the way, Epcot is like the greatest place in the world to go like on a bar hop. It's the best place.
It was we had so much fun. I was
my
just
God.
looking at the photos just the other day of our
But-
trip. Going, oh my goodness.
You got to come back, Dr. Kraken. We got to
Yeah.
do this again. But anyways, the green tea sake was just so refreshing. I was like, yeah, I could drink this all
it was
the
like
time.
drinking green tea and yet drinking alcohol at the same time. It was like,
My kind of thing. Here I am drinking green tea right now. Definitely.
yeah, it would be like a pomegranate juice Cosmo.
See,
You know,
detox.
antioxidants plus tox.
They balance each other out. All right. Well, I'm glad that we had some laughs here, Dr. Kraken, because we're going to talk about this really upsetting situation. Dr. Kraken, do you have something to say?
Hello, everyone. If you're a listener to the Marine Conservation Happy Hour, you might be wondering, how do these strange kids keep managing to record every single week? Well, we need support from Patreon supporters. Why not tune into patreon.com/marine conservation and buy us a drink? You can start from giving us a wee toast for just $1 to, you know, buying us a whole round of drinks. And each level has different types of benefits, going from a shout out on the show to even having a guest co-host slot on one of the episodes. Yes, absolutely. If you go big time, you can actually join us on the show and be a co-host. You can suggest possible topics that we could talk about. You can get involved with special live happy hours with just the crew. So go to patreon.com/marine conservation and show us the money.
And now back to our show. This is an
Dear
upsetting
Lord.
article to me because what worries me is that drones are just becoming more and more popular and easier to buy, like cheaper
so
and
easy
cheaper
to
and
buy, yeah.
cheaper. This was a drone from the general public. They're not giving names out. I'd love to. They're not even giving more information about what, like who it was and what are they going to do. to punish
Punish
this
them.
person. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Punish them.
punish, absolutely.
Punish them. Okay, so Dr. Kraken, you and I are going to bounce back information, okay? But so this is in California, the Southern California, and it's thousands of elegant terns. So they had listen to this, okay? 1,500 to 2,000 eggs were completely abandoned because this dumb drone fell and basically crashed on the beach and scared all of them away. They all thought that it was a big predator and never came back.
I know this is great. The elegant tern, if you don't know, terns are kind of like small seagulls with sort of back swept wings. And when they fly, they look like they're on a piece of elastic. So they sort of bob up and down. But an elegant tern looks like a tern from the 80s. It has like a long bill and has like a long sort of squeak back, almost sort of black mullet on its head. It's a beautiful, beautiful bird, and it's just tragic that this happened. Although I should say, in terms of drones, there's a lot of amazing, amazing research that is done by drones by scientists. For example,
Responsibly.
responsibly, yeah, looking at blue whales, looking at killer whales, looking at penguins in Antarctica, getting to count colonies and so on. So this is a public drone where a member of the public has crashed their drone in the middle of this colony. Absolutely devastating.
What upsets me is that these sweet little babies are in their eggs and their mommies and their daddies are not sitting on them, keeping them warm anymore, and they're just dying. They're dead. That's the sad part. That's where my mind goes. And it really is just too tragic. However, what is something that they're going to try to do for this? Oh, by the way, was on a reserve. Okay, so that's the thing. These drones shouldn't be in the air near reserves.
Yeah,
No.
it's like this whole sort of marine protected area thing that because some of the rules and regulations were put in place before drones existed, there aren't regulations against them. But a lot of the marine protected areas now, drone based whale watching is quite a big thing.
Mhm.
And people could just take their drone out to go and watch blue
And
whales.
harass them.
Yeah, harassing. Well,
Get
a
too
blue whale
close.
probably wouldn't care about a drone, but killer whale, dolphins, porpoises
Mm,
definitely would if you were sort of buzzing over their heads.
yeah.
Yeah, so there's, or and oh heaven forbid, seal and sea lion colonies when they're breeding. If a drone came over into one of these breeding colonies when they had really young pups, if they stampeded into the ocean, when those animals stampede to escape, very often a lot of the pups get killed in the process. So that could be absolutely
Oh yeah.
devastating if
No, this is
like a
completely
big
so
drone came in, boom.
exactly. So you're giving examples of situations that if this was an endangered or threatened species, this would be a bad situation. Thankfully, the elegant tern is not threatened or endangered. But I mean, this and all the scientists, biologists, they're all saying this needs to be mitigated, we need to have enforcement, and they're talking and they're trying to lobby to have the Federal Aviation Administration to list reserves as restricted airspace.
Oh, absolutely. Well, friend of the podcast and fellow podcaster on the Speak Up for Blue network, Alicia Amerson's actually written a book about responsible drone use. So, if you want to use a drone with wildlife, get that book. You can get it on Amazon. It's super cheap. And it has like 100 rules about how to be responsible drone user, whether or not it's seabirds, whether it's marine mammals, whether it's other types of wildlife. Remember a couple of, I guess it was about a year ago, where a drone followed a bear and their cub. And, the poor little cub, the mother was clambering up the snowy ice mountain, and the poor cub was like sliding down and they couldn't get away and they were getting separated. That happens so frequently. It's really, yeah, there needs to be more responsible drone usage. maybe there should be some sort of like nature drone certification, like with scuba diving. You have the various qualifications for responsible scuba diving and marine biodiversity. Maybe there should be like some sort of qualification of nature drone use for various different species, and it has to be different species because mammals behave very differently to birds, behave very differently to other species. Same with ROVs. A lot of people can now get ROVs, and if you think that a one of these little remote submarines, they have a cable behind them. If you're going out to view a whale, you could very easily entangle that whale and cause a lot of damage. So I know Andrew Taylor actually has a paper out on frontiers in marine science. So if you go and find that, it's open access, it's easily downloadable. It's got rules and regulations, well, guidelines, because they're not legal, they're just suggestions, but how to use ROVs around marine mammals so you don't entangle them, you don't endanger them. Again, a lot of tourism operations are using ROVs, are using drones to try and get better images for their members of the public. And if it's done responsibly, it's fine. If it's done irresponsibly, it could be dreadful. And it could actually end up injuring or killing animals. So
Love your rants today. I just love them.
I know. This whole
Let it
week,
go.
there's all this, all this angst has been building up. Like, oh, we need to do something, and it's all coming out in these
That's
episodes.
good. Well, anyways, this is awesome. I'm glad that you preached because I was like waving in the background saying, Amen. Yes, let's do it. Let's get that certification. Totally. Absolutely. We should not be able to buy these things that quickly and be able to
Yeah,
just get in everyone's face,
maybe
even our animals' face.
actually, maybe National Park Service. I mean, they are sort of a natural in terms of tourism and wildlife. Maybe National Park Service could develop some sort of training program for drone operators. If you're operating in a national park, you want to use a drone, this is what you do: A, B, C, D, and E. You know, some sort of either online or sort of in-person training, half a day or a couple of hours or something like that, how to use your drones responsibly, or maybe even how to use your drones as a way of collecting citizen science data
Yeah. Yeah.
as well. So, but yeah,
Absolutely.
maybe one of these government agencies can take it on board.
Yeah. Take it on board. All right, Dr. Kraken, thank you so much for joining me. And for everyone that's listening, thank you for tuning in and happy conservation.